Hello, everyone. This is Bevin. Welcome to Bevin, a Femme Over 40 and her friends podcast. I'm your host, Bevin. I've said my name 3 times. It's time to start the show. I'm here in someone else's living room, not in front of their Christmas tree, but in front of their Christmas fireplace mantle. It's so cute. I taught aerobics in this location last night, and one of my clients, shout out to Brian, said that it looked like I was filming a holiday special and that Dolly Parton was going to come down that staircase at any moment, which, you know what? Let's manifest. I'm also like recording this like on a grand piano, which I would love to have in a home with someone who knows how to play the piano. I can do Chariots of Fire, and that's about it. But I love hearing piano music. I find piano very soothing. So that would be a fun manifestation. The thing about a house this big, I will say, it's a lot of steps to go do anything. And I live in a tiny house typically when I'm not pet sitting, so or visiting elsewhere. And so it's a real different lifestyle. And I have to say it's a lot simpler and easier. But and there's benefits and drawbacks to both. But look at this cozy fire. I love it. Anyway, I was actually scheduled to record a podcast with a friend of mine and got canceled last minute, which has happened so many times. I did the canceling last week to a different friend. We've rescheduled. We're going to do it in the new year. See, we're in the circle back to the new year time of year where like if it doesn't happen now, it's gonna wait until next year. And it was me because like my internet, our power went out the night before, and then my internet, like my router broke, and so I had to get, you have to have Wi-Fi to be neighbors on Zoom, where my living room is your living room is mine, and we're connected and together. I love the internet, and I'm so grateful for it. So I decided instead of just rescheduling, since I already had everything set up and the beverage farm going, I have chamomile tea because I'm feeling anxious and just like sensitive to the world around me, which is what we're going to talk about today. I also have a beverage, which it's a vitamin A and vitamin D beverage. So I know it's delicious. I love more vitamins than just the ones I take in my supplement handful. And then of course a hydration beverage. So we're doing it. A three-tiered beverage farm. So today I wanted to talk about things that help with grounding because I have needed it more than ever. And I'm someone who takes my spiritual hygiene really seriously and the energetic hygiene of my home really seriously. So when I have friends who are like, having issues with their pets or their home, and I tap in or send Reiki or something, like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, have you cleared your house lately? Like, have you cleaned your house lately? Like, those are things that are that help in ways that like I don't think we notice until we don't do it, and then it shows you how much you need it, right? So even still, with all the things that I do to care for myself energetically, it has been very difficult, I have found, to ground. So I wanted to just convey some of the simple grounding things that I do that help me stay sane in a bonkers world. And the world is more bonkers today than it ever has been, I think, objectively, just more things happening. And with the advent of the internet, right? We've never had the internet before in recorded human history, right? Like it's possible we had other human civilizations that had the internet that fell apart and collapsed, right? Because of it. I've heard the lost city of Atlantis, that civilization fell apart because of some sound technologies they've had. And I've had past life meditations where I've been there and experienced being on different sides with someone who's in my life now. And yeah, it's been interesting. So like, and sometimes the sound itself is just an amplification of a healer's uh, work and that kind of thing. Like it is now when you go to a sound healing, it's not just the vibration of the instruments, it's also the energy of the instrumentalist, sound healer. I don't know. Anyway, you just like, like with Reiki healing, which is life force healing. It's life force energy that gets channeled through someone who has an attunement. And I'm a Reiki master. There's 3 levels of Reiki. That's the highest level. And I have a few other little like, Reiki sidecar attunements too. So, all that to say, like, really what Reiki is I get out of the way and I send that energy. And then I get information that kind of comes to me, and that's through the development of my psychic and mediumship discernment. It's really funny, interesting when you're in development with this kind of stuff to realize how much you've already been doing this stuff just unconsciously for so long. Like when I was a young person being bossy to like my friends, it sounds sometimes like what I'm saying when I channel, but now I have more people skills and more compassion. So I'm able to like hold a container for people that helps them feel really safe to just express what they need to express or what their fears are. And you go to psychics for lots of different reasons, but I think really tackling the unknown and like having a heads up about what's coming and what's your best path forward, the gentle path, you can have a gentle path. And I'll say, I think having grounding rituals and grounding practices helps to create a gentle path because it brings you back to center, back to your body. 3 deep breaths with long exhales is one of the simplest things you can do, but one of the most transformative things you can do. Breath is how you tell your body how to feel. So when you breathe full, long breaths, you're telling your body that you're safe. When our nervous system is hijacked, which it can be so easily now, like just a little information on the phone and suddenly like, like you're seeing things that you have to digest energetically and emotionally that you wouldn't have seen if you didn't have access to information like that. If you just had like a newspaper once a week, like maybe 100 years ago, that was true for maybe 200 years ago. I don't know. Information, right? So our nervous system reacts to that stuff as though there's a saber-toothed tiger in front of us because our nervous system is just wired for us to stay safe and stay safe in the face of a present danger. And if you go back, there's a great episode I did with my friend Jess Baker, and I don't remember what number episode it is. I don't even remember what year it was. It was a couple of years ago. Jess was the one that I had to reschedule for the new year. So she's coming back on the podcast. I'm really excited for you to learn about what they're up to these days. Jess is one of my like closest friends, and we have evolved so much. Like we got to know each other because we were both doing body liberation activism work and had blogs online. And the first time we met in person was like 2012. And then like now we've both evolved and we're both like heavily spiritual in what we do. And like the body stuff is just like a sidecar. I think bodies are still like centered to my work, but like my liberation work is definitely like I want to liberate you from the inside out instead of like change these systems that are cashing in on self-loathing. It's like the more people I can help get resilient to diet culture, the more dollars I take away from Weight Watchers, and they are my nemesis. And anyway, okay, so Jess Baker talks about our nervous system, right? So we use our breath to tell our body how to feel. So people really throw the words breath work around all the time because it really does work and it's very helpful. But you don't need to know anything more than just a longer exhale than your inhale. If you can get that simple, I think I was really intimidated by breath work for a long time, but I do recognize that taking like 3 conscious breaths at any moment brings me back to the center, brings me back to calm, and it brings me where I want to be, which is in this present moment, not hijacked by everything else, right? Like, what can I control right here? I also like the serenity prayer as a grounding moment. I'm thinking of the wrong prayer right now. I'm thinking of the A Course in Miracles prayer, which is what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? That's the A Course in Miracles prayer. That's not the serenity prayer. God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And a writing exercise I got in Al-Anon, which is a 12-step program for anyone who is affected by someone else's drinking or drugs. Al-Anon had this great exercise where you like just write out everything that you can't control and then flip it over and write down everything you can control. And that's what you're going to focus on is just what you can control. And it's actually so little that we can control. And I think the more healing we do, the more resilient we get to letting the things that are out of our control affect how we feel and our attitude about the world. I also, as a grounding exercise, I like being in nature. I'm a bit of a nature-aholic, it's one word, or just like heavily dependent on nature to for my well-being. I try to spend 2 hours moving outdoors every day. That's ideal. That's not what I actually get up to, but it can be many days. I think I've probably already been outside walking around like probably 45 minutes to an hour today. I try to, when I hinge that habit to like sunset, or stargazing, that really helps too. It's just like these are reasons for me to get out of my house and go interact with the sky and notice some beauty or interact with the ground. People say touch grass because it actually works because our feet have so many nerve endings that are connected to the energy of Mother Earth, and that is very grounding for us, like quite literally grounding. I also learned about putting your palms on the ground too, because our bodies evolve so much slower than our brains. And that has all evolved so much slower than like society outside, right? Like so much. It's like the amount of change that, and I've talked about this on the podcast many times, is the amount of change that has happened between our generation and our grandparents' generation has never before been seen in our present human civilization. We have not had that rapid amount of change, and yet we continue to cycle change faster and faster and faster, right? So something that our bodies really respond to is being four-legged. So like having your palms on the ground and your feet on the ground, that you don't have to be even naked feet. I like to just do that. It's a stretch I like to do in the woods sometimes anyways, just put my palms on the ground, and connect to Mother Earth in that way. So that's another, like I call it completing the circuit because there's like an energetic circuit we're doing because everything's energy, right? And we're like basically just saltwater meat sacks conducting electricity. Okay, so that's that kind of grounding. I love to co-regulate with the tree. I am a tree hugger and I have nothing to prove. I'm like so far beyond the like door of being concerned of people thinking I'm crazy. Okay. If you're concerned with my mental health, you're not more concerned with my mental health than I am. And I have totally wrapped my life around my vibrant mental health. And I've had a lot of success with that. And I'm grateful. So go up to a tree. The tree has energy, right? You have energy. Breathe with the tree. Just like breathe in the energy, connect to the tree. Sometimes I like to lean and lay on the tree. I I like to remind people of this actually whenever I have like a Reiki client or like a friend who's kind of like spiraling. I like to just gently remind them that whenever you feel gravity, wherever you're feeling gravity, that's Mother Earth literally holding you. And so, like, and she's the ancestor of us all, right? Mother of us all. So, like, if I'm laying on a tree, I'm letting this tree and Mother Earth just hold me. And that is so, I find that very comforting and very soothing and very grounding. And so, when I'm unmoored, and I mean, I'm fine just like, it does so much medicine for me just to walk through the woods, right? But like, when I take a pause and make a connection, like a heart connection with the tree, medicine, so good and free 99. Um, now that Joni Mitchell song, Paradise Put Up a Parking Lot is going through my head. My goal in life is to buy up enough of paradise so that people can't put up parking lots. There's a billionaire, the Fortnite billionaire, I think, it's one of those games. And he's buying up land and conserving it. And I applaud. I applaud. It's rare to see a billionaire doing something wise and well and helpful with their resource hoarding. And it's not resource hoarding, that's resource flowing, and energy likes to flow. Okay, so what else do we do when we round? I also like pulled some cards and got some messages before I spontaneously started this because I was like, this cute little fireplace. I just wanted to co-create with her. What else do I do? I love a crystal. Crystals, listen, I'm like an expert on earth things because I am a Capricorn with a Virgo rising. I was born and made to tell you how to connect to the earth and feel grounded. But I can tell you that feeling ungrounded is extremely disturbing to me. So I really learned how to solve for that. So crystals, you can ground in lots of different ways with crystals. You can literally just hold it in your palm and just do your breathing, and you can just ask the crystal to ground you. I made a cup of tea. I did chamomile and lavender, and I said, please help me feel relaxed and peaceful. So like you just give stuff a task. What's the worst that happens? It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't drink this cup of tea, I wouldn't feel any type of way. So, might as well. But with a crystal, crystals love a job. And my friend Nairi, rest in power and rest in peace, my friend. My friend Nairi gave me this recipe for grounding with a crystal specifically. And so for my crystal store going girlies, gays, theys, and whoever else is listening to this podcast, lava rock is very grounding. And they make lava rock in these little spheres. So I have a sphere of lava rock I keep in my car for occasions where I need to feel grounded, or like I'm sitting in traffic and I'm getting anxious because I'm late for something or whatever, right? So you take this round rock and you just roll it between your palms, and even thinking about the lava rock. And I'll say this, you can also literally think of herbs and work with them. You can think of rocks and crystals and work with them. So just like rubbing your palms along that lava rock, you can also, it has little holes in it. So you can like drop a couple of drops of essential oil and it'll carry the oil for you. And so you can just like, drop a couple of drops of lavender and just huff it and really just get into it, ground yourself at that. But you could do it with any palm-sized rock that you can roll between your hands. But you can also just hold rocks. I already said that. You can vibe them in your head while you're laying there. One time I had I had hurt my back and I was like, I need a root chakra healing. And I don't know that I have any carnelian or other red rocks. A lot of chakra healings, and like where you're injured, if it correlates to a chakra, you can like, just crystal healing, right? Based on color. But I didn't have any that I could think of, although I do have one now. I don't even know where it came from. But I didn't have any that I could think of, but I meditated and just like brought in the carnelian energy, and it really helped to relieve the pain. So listen, this is all available to you. Um, what other body balance. That was the other card I pulled. So connecting to your body and asking your body, what does my body need? Because sometimes you're just hungry. Sometimes I'm spiraling. Sometimes you just need to eat a meal. Sometimes you just need a protein shake. Like, you know how like it's just, I mean, that's what a spiral is like you're just going so fast in a direction because like it's hard to wheel yourself back. And like when you aren't caring for your basic needs and your body is out of balance, that can inspire more spiral. So eating something hungry, angry, lonely, tired, that was something I learned in the rooms about like just taking that inventory of like, what might I need right now? But really asking your body, what do you need right now? Usually my body will tell me what's right, what's the next right thing. Um, yeah. So I think, oh, and also like eating grounding foods, especially this time of year in the winter. Potatoes are very grounding. Um, any root vegetable like a carrot, parsnip, etc., ginger, very warming, very grounding. So anything that is a rooty thing is going to help ground you. So I try to eat potatoes every day a little bit. Potatoes and salt. It's cleansing and grounding both at once. Salt I wanted to talk about too. Salt cleansing. I just visualize. I have a free spiritual hygiene meditation on my Patreon page, which if you like this episode, I have an entire curriculum of spiritual self-care tips and tricks and things that I use that help me kind of stay spiritually aligned and also taking great care of myself. And there's I think 20 something lessons now in that curriculum. It started with 12. I did it monthly for a year and then I just keep adding to it. And so this is very much like something I would produce for that. And so if you like that, patreon.com/FKDP, it stands for Fat Kid Dance Party. Fat Kid Dance Party is my aerobics class for anyone who feels left behind by mainstream fitness. If you've ever been called too much, too fat, or felt too awkward to dance, mine is the supportive class for you. I have Zoom classes where you can attend live and meet the community. It's an incredible community. I do 2 Zoom classes a week. I also have on-demand classes. So I record a bunch of classes. This winter, I'm really working on rage and grief releasing classes because I felt like it's what I needed. I felt like people needed it. And I also have a workout video series that was professionally produced that I crowdfunded in 2018. So it's kind of how I taught the class back then. But, this class is almost 9 years old. Isn't that amazing? So it has evolved over time, and I just absolutely adore teaching this class. And that's all on my Patreon page. And if you're the kind of person who loves my solo podcast episodes, there's a ton of solo like stuff that's a little too tender to share publicly. Podcast episodes. I have one about my coming out story. I have one about my first love. I have a whole series about conflict and community and just kind of untangling like how can we build sustainable community movements, and just kind of tales from the road on that. And all of that's available there. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes to that free spiritual hygiene meditation. And that involves bringing light up through the salt caves. This is, look, I came all the way back to where I started. We're bringing light up through our roots, through the salt caves, and then up into our heart space. So salt is, you can use sea salt, like you can have a salt bath. I rub a little salt on my heart counterclockwise just to release anything that is not of me or for me. That's what I say. In the shower, I do it. You can do, yeah, I mean, eating salt is sufficient and frankly delicious. So there's lots of ways to work with salt. I also do like salt cleansing in general and just intentionally using salt as a purification. And so that's in there. So I have a spiritual hygiene meditation, but also a lesson about like how it works and what we're doing. And that is all at the link, and it's free because I just think it's so, so important that I genuinely believe that as many people that engage in the spiritual hygiene meditations that I teach, the better the world will get because, it's a ripple. It's all ripple effects. So anyway, so that's there if you want to avail yourself of that. But that's the first thing I do is like my whole spiritual hygiene meditation. When I feel off, I'm like, "Meh, meh, meh," and I like, it's like I'm a little like Formula One mechanic going through my energetic fields and just clearing and cleansing things. Because sometimes it's just other people's gunk. It's not your own anxiety. And I also have a diagnosis of generalized anxiety too. And so I'll use cannabis plant medicine to help me with that and CBD and stuff like that. So when I'm at a place where I feel like, okay, I can, be altered, I might choose that. But sometimes it makes it worse. You know what I mean? So just trust the medicines that work for you. And again, start with your breath. Um, I adore you. Thank you for tuning in to this little vlog about how to get grounded in wacky times. There's not much we can do about all that stuff outside of our control, but there's a lot of stuff we can do to come back to center, and to thus invoke the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle talks about, and just really get present. And I want to just put a plug in for creating. We need your art. There's stuff that this is what I said to me when I was like, there's plenty of stuff on the internet about how to ground. And I was like, remember, Bevin, there's some people that can only hear it through you. So remember, there's some things that people can only hear through you. And we need your art. We need your creativity. Creative energy is the output that sometimes our anxiety is like tingling because there's stuff that wants to flow. Because again, we want to be an energetic river, not a reservoir. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or need advice, please shoot me an email, fatkiddanceparty@gmail.com. If you're doing social media, please find me, Bevin's Party, on all the platforms. I would love to connect. And if this was helpful for you, please rate, review, star, like, it all helps. I feel like I'm like 1 million years away from ever being monetized on YouTube, which is fine. But, it does help. Every little like, every watch, every share really helps. Same on Spotify. I'm like far from being monetized on Spotify, but I'm trying to figure out how to break up with Spotify, but still maintain my podcast. So, that's my 2026. I'm just going to say this ahead of time. 2026, I'm doing my best to start my physical media collection again. I couldn't regret more getting rid of my CD collection when I moved across the country from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. What a dumb move. I saved a few CDs, but I had a really good CD collection. And I still have a big DVD wallet, so I'm glad to start with that. But I'm just so tired of like things changing. Like something changed in Dirty Dancing. A couple lyrics to songs was different when I watched it streaming on Netflix. They've changed, like Robin Hood Men in Tights used to have this like quote about tyranny at the beginning of it, and now it's not there anymore on Amazon. So if they can go in, and on Spotify, music changes. So if they can go in and just tweak things, and just change them and act like nothing's happened, I'm done. Like I am ready for physical media again. Like I think as someone in her 40s, I have definitely experienced many types of uh, digital and physical media, and we never had it as good as we did when we had our neighborhood video store. I feel like I spent less time driving to the store, browsing in the store, figuring out what was available to rent. Because if you didn't get there for the new release, like they had 10 copies. So if you didn't get there for the first 10 copies, you couldn't watch the new release, right? You had to figure out what was there. I feel like I still spend more time trying to figure out what to watch on all these streaming apps and like trying to find something on any of these streaming apps. I couldn't find The Preacher's Wife this year, starring Whitney Houston. I wanted to watch it as part of my holiday festivities, and I could not. So anyway, this is my resolute decision is in 2026, we're doing like physical media, and I'm going to switch from Spotify to Tidal or something better, some better streaming platform because Spotify is trash, or at least the people who run it are trash. And I think Spotify, I'm just going to put this, keep talking, putting this in the universe. I think Spotify should get purchased by an artist co-op of the very wealthy artists who have benefited from the music industry and want to give back and make it more democratized and allow people to actually make money off of their streams, because the fact that Spotify has money to spend on like military weaponry and like isn't paying people for their work, and they've just turned what is like our experience as a user is like a jukebox, but they've turned it into essentially just a social media platform for artists to get discovered. But artists have to make money off of their very hard work. It is hard work to make songs in different ways. Anyway, it's a rant for another day, but I might as well put it in here because I'm talking trash about Spotify. So anyway, from my heart to yours, thank you for tuning in, and I adore you. Bye.